video.
Do this.
What's up, everyone? It's Leah again. I know a week literally turned into a month, but it's all good. Better late than never, I guess, in this case. I'm coming back to give you guys my top 5 book recommendations for 2019. This video is a little bit different, but I'm probably going to be talking about a little bit of everything just because my interests range, and I'm just gonna do whatever on this channel. But since February is self-love month, and since I was, going through it in between videos, I just felt like this would be the perfect video to give y'all. So let's get started. The first one is called The 7 Principles to Making Marriage Work. I am so obsessed with marriage books. I don't know why. I just feel like I get a lot of information. Back in the day, I wanted to be a marriage counselor or something, so I just really got hooked onto marriage books. This one is probably one of my favorites because it gives scientific procedures about the observations between the couples and what really makes sense as far as relationships and rules go. I read a lot of marriage books, and this one just really is straightforward, and it has a lot of facts, it has a lot of evidence to back up the author's point of view. There's exercises in between each chapter too, and you can definitely work with your partner and do the exercises like while you're reading them. So it's really, really good. My second one is Walking with God, and this one is more Christian based. I was raised Christian, but I am really, really spiritual. I don't know if anybody's going to be steering away from the Christian based dialogue, but this book really helped me to know what the voice of God would sound like, separating fear from the voice of God. This one I love because of the powerful prayers that are in here throughout the book. I used to say them like every morning just to feel, really good before the day started or at the end of the day. I don't know. I would read this again. I just love this book. I love the author's voice and tone. I feel like it's really comforting, and I don't feel like it's a Christian-centered book to where it would make a spiritual person feel like they're not a child of God or anybody. I feel like he's a little bit open-minded. I can take principles from there and apply it directly to my life or my spirituality. I feel like it is a good book to start with if you're trying to hear for the voice of God or trying to pick up on God's nature. This one is like my second favorite marriage book. This was the first one, not the first marriage book that I've ever read, but it's one of the first marriage books that I've read, and it is so good. It just makes me want to be in a relationship. It makes me want to love somebody. That's what I love about this, is because it makes you realize what relationships really are about. It's not about getting something from the other person. It's about giving and loving the other person, actually cherishing your partner. This book really gives like practices and actual things that you can try like literally today or tomorrow that will literally alter the structure of your relationship, and I highly suggest this one. I do suggest the other one, but I put both because these are probably my top 2 relationship books ever, and they probably cover 99% of what other marriage books are talking about within the 2 books. This is more spiritual based and Christian based, and the other one is just scientific. So if you're more religious or more spiritual, I would say go for this one. If you're not, I would say go for the other one. But both books I would pick up. This one's called Conversations with God. This is probably one of my favorite books just because the author is writing as God. So he's writing out God's dialogue, and it just makes me weirdly comforted because he's giving an answer to life's biggest questions about suffering and It is so good. It is so hard to read though. I would take my sweet time reading this. It took me a while just because it was so hard, and I had to make sure that I understood every single thing that they were talking about, because it gets so deep, especially towards the end. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 of these books. I think there's 3. I don't want to say 5. There's probably 3 or 4, but this first one is a great starter for you to just get answers to life's big questions and maybe feel comforted by a dialogue that's God's. And yeah, it's just really good. My last one is my most recent one that I finished, and this is called The Soul Searcher's Handbook. This is really good if you're trying to find spiritual practices to try. This author tried a whole bunch of different spiritual practices and literally breaks down every single one and gives a lot of background. It's divided into 3 parts. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book just because I learned so much, and this book actually got me hooked on doing chakra healing, and now I'm trying to dive into that and read more about that. This book is a great starter book or a great reference guide to a bunch of spiritual practices. I really love it. There's another book that I have that's almost similar to this one, and I'll probably review that one too. I'm constantly reading and constantly buying books. I'm gonna add a link in the description box about the website that I get my books from. They're all under $10. Most of the time they're under $5. Most of them that I've gotten are in amazing condition even though they're used. Yeah, so that was my 5 favorite books, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this short video. Reading is truly one of my favorite self-love practices, one of my favorite spiritual practices. I journal, I meditate. I feel like something about reading really calms me down, and it's educational, and just picking up the right book with your specific interests will definitely help, I feel. And hopefully these books help you guys in a way. I can give way more recommendations, but I felt like these were just core books that I felt like were really necessary out of books that I've read. Well, thank you so much for watching. I know it got a little dark. I was trying to do this within like 10 minutes, but I love y'all. Stay blessed, stay safe. Peace, love.